The church is the one that have the real insight about him. The church is the one that has the revelation of Jesus. Nobody else. The church is a person. The church is not a building. When Jesus was talking to Peter, he said him, upon this will I build my church. Your eyes have to be open to understand who Jesus is. The only people who have that understanding is the church. And the church is not a building, it's a person. You have to come to that point where you become a church. Because before that time, Peter have never spoken like this. And Jesus has never talked about the church. Jesus has never brought anything that has to do with the church when he was talking before. But when Peter got to the level of the church, that's when Jesus had to tell him, upon this rock I'll build my church. Why? Because the church has the revelation of who he is. That he is not just a man. So when Peter grew to that level of becoming a church, because he had the insight from heaven, was spiritually conscious, and he had revelation from the Spirit of God to know who he is. So the church is someone who have the real identity about Jesus. Talks about how an angel appeared to John to tell him about Jesus. But meanwhile, they live with Jesus. So you can live with Jesus and not know who Jesus is. It took the angel of the Lord to appear to John. That was almost the time he was almost dying. He lived all his life not knowing the revelation about Jesus. Until the angel came, he said, let me tell you about the revelation of Jesus. So Jesus is beyond what we know him to be. There's a revelation behind Jesus. There's a revelation about Jesus. And you have to become the church in order for you to know. That's why Jesus said he's coming for a church without spot nor wrinkle, a perfect church. Why? Because the church have full insight about who Jesus is. Peter said, you are the Christ. Flesh did not tell him.